I'm a little bit tensed, but very, very excited. I have seen bits of it, but you don't believe it. It's so incredible. Agnetha and ABBA-e's Horn starred in an idyllic pop fairy tale. They led one of the most successful musical groups in history, with about 385 million albums sold worldwide. Her professional life reached unprecedented heights after her marriage in 1971. Her personal relationship was gradually deteriorating between backstages. Her 7-year marriage gave them 2 children. But it ended suddenly in 1979, when ABBA was at its peak. The media presented it as a happy divorce, but the reality was different. Agnetha needed therapy to overcome it, and Bjorn started a new relationship a week after breaking up. Her personal problems affected ABBA's creative process and ended up contributing to the group's breakup in 1982. Do you think working with your partner under the spotlight strengthens or destroys relationships? Comment 1 for stronger. 0 for destroyed. Discover the true story of ABBA's golden couple and the moment that ended it all, the beginning of a fairy tale, as Agnetha and Bjorn became known, long before becoming half of the most famous pop quartet in the world. Agnetha Faltskog and Bjorn ODMAH left their mark separately on the Swedish music scene. Their meeting triggered a personal and professional association that changed pop music forever. Agnetha Faltskog and Bjorn ODMAH crossed paths in 1968. Agnetha had moved to Stockholm to pursue her dreams as a soloist. She was born on April 5, 1950 in Honkoping, Sweden, and she began her musical experience with a local dance band led by Bernd Einhorn. The group sent a model to Carl Gerhard Lundqvist, who noticed her exceptional vocal talent. Lundqvist knew she would become a star. He searched everywhere for this promising singer and took her to Stockholm to record 2 of his compositions. This opportunity changed her life. Bjorn ODMAH had already earned a reputation as a member of the Hood Nanny Singers. A prominent folk group, 5 years older than Agnetha, had earned a place in Swedish music before meeting. The stories about their first meeting differ. Most sources state that they met in 1968, while others point to a Swedish television special in May 1969. Whatever the exact date, they met again in 1969 during a TV show in honor of the Swedish composer Jules Sylvan. Agnetha and Bjorn felt an immediate mutual attraction. They came from different musical worlds. Agnetha adored Connie Francis and created songs in the Strayer style, while Bjorn had his roots in folk music. But their passion for music united them. The shy Agnetha, 19 years old and angelic-looking, and Bjorn, 24, fell in love right away. Their bond exceeded physical attraction, since they mutually recognized their musical spirit. Agnetha stood out for writing her songs, something that few female singers did in the 1960s. She released 4 solo albums between 1968 and 1971, and she topped the Swedish charts on several occasions, demonstrating her talent as a singer and composer. Their growing relationship soon merged with their professional life. They worked in the recording sessions of the other, Benny Andersson and Annie Friedlandstad, who would later complete Nava. They did choirs on Agnetha's 3rd studio album, Sam Hagar, Como Soy, in 1970. Their 2-year romance ended in marriage on July 6, 1971, in the town of Bærum. Benny Andersson played the organ at his wedding, a musical touch that revealed his future. This union strengthened their personal bond and laid the foundations for one of the most successful musical associations in history. The future members of ABBA established relationships during this time. That led to the formation of the group. Agnetha established friendship with Annie Friedlandstad and Benny Andersson, who had already written songs with Horn, creating the foundations of ABBA. The 4 musicians tried different projects together, without planning anything permanent. They called themselves Fast Folket, in Swedish, the boyfriends. That sounded like Fast Folket or the Party People, and they saw it as a parallel project. The name of ABBA, its characteristic sound and its victory at Eurovision came later. The beginning of the fairy tale of Agnetha and Horn is more than a love story. Marks the beginning of a world music phenomenon. Their connection created a creative association that produced the most lasting successes of pop music, despite the fact that their relationship faced challenges that they never predicted in those first days. Build ABBA. When personal and professional life merged, Agnetha Faltskog and Horn ODMAH They lived a crucial moment in the summer of 1971. Their personal bond soon merged in what would become one of the most successful collaborations in the history of music. The couple got married on July 6, 1971, in the charming town of Bärum, south of Sweden. Benny Andersson, composer and future bandmate of Horn, he put the musical touch by playing the organ during the ceremony. This musical element was a sign of the creative association that was approaching. The day of their wedding was full of special moments. The reception in the castle of Witzhaus welcomed about 40 guests. Agnetha was very excited that day. She could barely speak during some parts of the ceremony. A row of 200 meters of admirers crowded in front of the church to see the musical couple. Eva's future manager, Stig Andersson. He gave them an alarm clock as a wedding detail. His message was clear. They needed to know what time to get up in the morning for their next job. The celebration had performances by Benny's dance team, including Sunny Girl from the Hub Stars. Horn shared his thoughts later. We wanted to have a memorable wedding, and so it was. Their professional lives took off after the wedding. In the spring of 1972, they recorded People Need Love, which became a success in Sweden. The band was officially formed in 1972. Although the musical collaboration between the four began in 1970, before Eva, they experimented with a cabaret number called Festfolk, an ingenious Swedish word game that translates to both engaged couples and party people. This first attempt failed, but it laid the foundations for their future success. Success came to them soon, when they performed at the Melodifestivalen in 1973, the Swedish selection for the Eurovision Song Contest, with Ring Ring. A third place did not prevent the single and the album from becoming the biggest hits in Sweden that year. The founder of Polar Music, Stig Andersson, he played a vital role during these first days. He made a bold prediction to Andersson and Ulvaeus. One day you will write a song that will become a world hit. Time would tell. The life of newlyweds and the construction of a musical career were unique challenges for both couples. Agnetha kept her individual career alive. She played the role of Maria Magdalena. She participated in a Swedish production of Jesus Christ Superstar by Andrew Lloyd Webber in 1971, the same year she married Horn. Personal and professional life often mix. Throughout 1971, Falstaff, Andersson and Ulvaeus toured the Swedish folk parks together. Their companions often joined them in the recording studios and did choirs for various projects. Romance and business created a special dynamic that shaped Eva's initial identity. Each member brought a unique talent. The powerful and complementary voices of Agnetha and Frida combined perfectly with Horn and Benny's compositional skills. Agnetha and Horn spent almost every moment together, at home and at work. The growing fame made it more difficult to maintain a normal family life. These pressures would affect their relationship later, although then such challenges seemed distant. His family grew in February 1973 with the arrival of his daughter Linda Elin Ulvaeus. Paternity added another layer to his already complex marital and musical life. Eva's star was still growing, creating a worldwide success story, while adding tension to their personal lives in a way they could not predict. Family life in the midst of world fame. Eva jumped to international stardom in the early 1970s. Agnetha Faltskog and Horn Ulvaeus faced a unique challenge. They had to combine their brilliant career with their dream of forming a family. The couple's personal life underwent many changes as their professional success reached new heights. Eva had just taken shape when Agnetha and Horn welcomed their first daughter. Linda Elin Ulvaeus was born on February 23, 1973 at Danderyd Hospital in Danderyd, Sweden. This happy moment came just before Eva's great opportunity. The group would win the 1974 Eurovision Song Contest with Waterloo just a year later. Agnetha remembers this time as an exceptional challenge. We had our daughter in 1973, so I was only a year old when we won in Brighton. Explain, it all happened at the same time. But I think it's often like that. You start your career at the same time you want to be a mother. Linda's arrival further complicated the complicated life of the couple. Agnetha struggled to combine her role as a mother with her professional obligations. It's a difficult time for me, says about her first years as a mother. The challenges of combining paternity with stardom were patented after Ava's victory at Eurovision in 1974. Agnetha and Horn left their 1-year-old daughter at home while they competed. Horn remembered it as 15 days, or 3 weeks. The experience left their hearts broken. When we returned, our daughter did not recognize us, says Horn. It was a hard experience. It was a distressing situation. It was so small this moment showed the real cost of her growing fame. Agnetha was sincere about how to combine maternity with stardom. A journalist asked her about it, and she replied, "I think so. Really. It's a hard job. And it requires a constant awareness and effort. She loves me and Ava loves me. It's very difficult to do everything." The needs of her daughter determined her way of traveling. The couple started flying separately whenever they could. When we fly, like we have a 3.5-year-old daughter, we try to do it separately whenever we can, explains Horn. Ava's costume and makeup artist, Ingmarie Halling, gave an explanation about their common parental fears. The two parents fly together. And yes, Agnetha's fear of flying was accentuated by her maternal instinct. "I've flown all over the world, and I've never liked it. And now I panic," she admitted. This fear created more problems as Ava's tour schedule became tighter. The family grew again 4 years after Linda was born. Peter Christian Odise arrived on December 4th, 1977. Peter completed the family at the top of Ava's world success, which meant even more pressure for the couple. Agnetha felt more pressured when trying to combine maternity with Ava's tight schedule. She felt guilty for spending so much time away from her 2 young children, Linda and Peter, while the band flew all over the world on their exhausting tour schedule. These emotions added to the growing tension in their marriage. They both later worked with their mother on musical projects. Linda recorded Nutandas tous en Julelius with Agnetha at the age of 8, in 1981. She also did choirs in her mother's return song in 2004. When You Walk in the Room, Peter worked with Agnetha on the album Con Folk Med I Barcarusel when she was 9 years old. In 1987, Agnetha later explained how Ava limited her creative work. "When I started my solo career, I wanted to write. Tijekom abinih godina imao sam 2 male djece o kojima sam se morao brinuti I puno putovao. Koncerti I televizijske emisije. Kad sam imala malo slobodnog vremena, htjela sam biti sa svojom djecom." Prvi znaci problema u raju. Iako su imali besprijekoran sklad I uglađen imidž, Ava nije mogla zauvijek skrivati stvarnost. Agnetin brak s Ivon počeo se naglo kvariti nakon 7 godina veze. Njezin brak, koji se činio neraskidivim, postupno se raspadao zbog pritisaka slavnih I njihovih poteškoća. U njihovoj se vezi osjećao pritisak gladovanja. Kako je njezina slava rasla, Ava je morala ići na iscrpljujuća putovanja. Nakon nekog vremena, Agnetha je posljednje godine svog braka opisala kao jadne. Beskrajna putovanja I koncerti proždirali su njezin život, ostavljajući im vrlo malo vremena za međusobni odnos. Provođenje vremena odvojeno od svoje male djece, Lindy I Petera, bilo je teško iskustvo za Agnethu, jer ih je napustila u tako ranoj dobi. Bila je puna kajanja. Činilo se da Bjorn ne dijeli te osjećaje u istoj mjeri. Njihovi različiti pogledi na stvarnost obiteljskog života izazvali su prekid među njima. Kao rezultat benignog imidža benda, bili su prisiljeni izgledati sretni zajedno na pozornici. Kada su bili prisiljeni skrivati svoje osobne probleme, situacija je postala još ozbiljnija. Svakim danom koji je prolazio, ponor koji je postojao između njihova javnog identiteta I njihove privatne stvarnosti postajao je sve veći. Iako su ostali fizički bliski, par je živio u čudnom svijetu u kojem su se emocionalno udaljili. Frida, Avina druga pjevačica, prisjetila se prilično slične okolnosti onoj koju je opisao Benny. Došlo je do točke kada smo bili prisiljeni izlaziti svaku večer samo zato što nismo mogli podnijeti biti sami kod kuće. Ovaj komentar pokazuje kako se svaki od Avinih parova morao suočiti s usporedivim izazovima. Ovim parovima, nekoć nerazdvojnim, bilo je teško komunicirati ili sklapati veze. Kada je Bjorn razmišljao o tom vremenskom razdoblju, rekao je, jednostavno smo se počeli udaljavati jedni od drugih. To je uglavnom zbog naših različitih vitalnih ciljeva. Postalo je očiglednije da imaju različite ciljeve u životu kako su njihove profesije napredovale. Romansa koju su nekoć imali u životu postala je komercijalni odnos koji je ostao ujedinjen obvezama njihovih poslova. Usporedo s Avinim sve većim uspjehom, U pozadini se odvijao postupni raspad. Agnetha je otkrila da se maknula od svjetla reflektora, za razliku od Fride koja je, čini se, uživala u njima. Međutim, u sebi se morala suočiti s činjenicom da je svijet smatra zlatnom djevojkom kristalnog glasa. Sve je počelo mučnim letom tijekom strašne oluje, što je jedan od onih događaja koji zauvijek ostaju u sjećanju. Od tada joj je sama pomisao da uđe u avion izazivala mučninu. Putovanja su za sudionike postala nešto ne samo fizički, već i emocionalno. However, it was not just to fly. The crowds, which used to be considered a sign of success, began to seem overwhelming to her. Agnetha claimed that she had intense and disturbing dreams in which admirers surrounded her, but without a face and unstoppable, it seemed as if they were going to consume her completely. Over time, the screams began to sound more and more like threats. As the stages grew larger, her anxiety for acting also increased. What should have been victories became traps. Suddenly, the pleasure of singing turned into fear, and each performance required more strength than the previous one. It is not that she did not like music, but that she enjoyed it. However, the associated expenses of being repeatedly seen by millions of people were breaking her slowly but inexorably. As the distance between what the world expected and what she could offer increased, she felt increasingly distant from herself and others. Agnetha never felt comfortable with fame. To begin with, "I am a very shy person," she commented. "I have always been shy." The interpretation became more and more difficult for her, as she felt that she demanded more and more of herself to be better and better. Due to her low English level, she felt excluded in interviews and other public acts, although Bjorn seemed to feel comfortable with fame. These concerns made her distance herself more and more from him. While some people considered the screaming fans as admirers, she considered them screaming, angry and hysterical, and considered them threatening. Her emotional connection was difficult to maintain due to the endless trips, the numerous vital aspirations of Agnetha, and the growing concern she experienced, both inside and outside the stage. It became increasingly difficult for them to maintain their happy marital act. All these problems led to their separation in 1979. The breaking point. What really happened in 1979? In the winter of 1978. 1979. The marriage of Agnetha and Bjorn, which had been described as a fairy tale, ended in divorce. Ava's worldwide success had no precedence at that time, but her personal life was very different. The accumulated tension over the years reached a breaking point that irrevocably altered the course of her life. On Christmas Eve, 1978, Agnetha and Bjorn's relationship began to deteriorate, marking a crucial moment in their breakup. When Agnetha's marriage began to disintegrate, she was unable to continue suffering the emotional anguish that caused her. Agnetha made her emotions clear when she declared she did not want to continue feeling the pain of this relationship. During their talk, they came to the conclusion that their marriage could not be saved under any concept. Bjorn collected his belongings and left the residence they shared. After almost 2 years of fighting, the couple finally recognized their defeat. After a while, Agnetha confessed, "It is quite simple. We just distance ourselves. If you talk about everything and you do not understand each other, then there is nothing left between the two." Almost immediately after announcing their separation, rumors began to circulate about the real reason for their breakup. Just a week after Bjorn left Agnetha, rumors began to circulate that he had already found a new lover. When Bjorn started dating Lena Kallershow, a Swedish television personality very similar to Agnetha, these rumors gained more strength than before. Bjorn maintained his position that deception was not the most important problem. In many ways, the divorce between Agnetha and I was friendly. We just distanced ourselves and decided to separate. He explained years later. In public, they referred to him as a happy divorce, but the reality was much more complicated than that. Visiting a psychiatrist together was one of the ways in which the couple tried to repair their marriage. Agnetha added, "We wanted an outsider to see us, in case there was something in our relationship that we both could not see." As a result of the therapy, they realized that their decision to separate was rational. In January 1979, they filed for divorce, which ended in July 1980. However, Agnetha later revealed the reality in her book As I Am, published in 1997. "We always told the media that it was a happy divorce, which, of course, was a facade. The couple had a unified face in front of the media. It is well known that divorce is never pleasant, especially when there are children involved. The separation especially affected Agnetha. As a result of the incident, she felt devastated and needed therapy to recover. Seeing how Bjorn was leaving quickly with another person contributed to her suffering and forced her to seek the help of a specialist. Despite their personal pain, they continued to collaborate. Both Agnetha and Bjorn agreed that they would continue to be members of ABBA. One version says it was a relief for both, and ABBA became more powerful than ever. Immediately after their separation, after the separation of Agnetha and Bjorn on Christmas Day in 1978, the great difference between her public image and her private reality became evident in the following days. Although the divorced couple lived radically different emotional experiences between backstage, the most popular pop group in the world continued to reap success after success. Immediately after the breakup, Bjorn continued with her sentimental life and moved on. Just a week after divorcing Agnetha, he began a relationship with Lena Kallershow, a Swedish television personality very similar to his ex-wife. Fans and the media were surprised by the speed with which they started a new relationship. Činjenica da je tako brzo prešao u novu vezu odavala je dojam da je emocionalno prekinuo svoju vezu s Agnetinim brakom puno prije nego što je par objavio da se rastaje. Bjornovo javno izvješće o prijateljskom raskidu ostavljeno je u nedoumici zbog lakoće s kojom se prilagodio, što je u velikoj suprotnosti s Agnetinim iskustvom. Bjornova želja da nastavi dalje bila je vrlo različita od Agnetinog iskustva, koje je bilo vrlo različito. Raskid ju je ostavio uništenom i uništenom. Zbog intenziteta emocionalnog učinka bio joj je potreban tretman kako bi se suočila s traumom. U svojoj knjizi As I Am, objavljenoj 1997, Agnetha je iskreno ispričala stvarnost koja se skrivala iza njezine javne slike. Za medije smo uvijek govorili da je to sretan razvod, što je, naravno, bila fasada. Razvod nikada nije ugodan, pogotovo ako su u pitanju djeca. Njegovi emocionalni ožiljci pogoršali su se kao rezultat brze promjene njegovog bivšeg supruga za novom ljubavi, a trebale su godine da zacijeli te rane. Nakon odluke da se povuče s javne scene, kasnije je otkrio jednom intervju, možda sam neko vrijeme bio zatvorenik, nakon ABBA-e. Bio sam toliko iscrpljen da sam jedino želio opustiti se i provoditi vrijeme sa svojom djecom. Agnetha i Bjorn odlučili su unatoč emocionalnim problemima nastaviti suradnju u ABBA-i kako bi bend dosegao najveću svjetsku slavu. Morali su svoje osobne borbe ostaviti po strani. Kasnije je Benny Anderson izrazio svoje osjećaje u vezi s tim vremenom, nije bilo sretno vrijeme, ali je ipak bilo vrlo kreativno. Počeli su uključivati svoju osobnu tugu u glazbu ABBA-e, kako su najnovije pjesme benda počele uključivati mračnije teme i kontemplativnije tekstove. Jedan od najemotivnijih primjera bio je kada je Agnetha iz njezine perspektive otpjevala The Winner Takes It All, pjesmu koju je Bjorn napisao o svom razvodu. Uspjeli su transformirati svoju osobnu patnju u glazbenu veličinu, pokazujući izuzetnu profesionalnu snagu usred tih traumatičnih trenutaka, pretvarajući bol u umjetnost. The Winner Takes It All. Iskustvo boli dovelo je do glazbene izvrsnosti. Pjesma koju mnogi smatraju emocionalno najintenzivnijom od ABBA-e nastala je kao rezultat razvoda Agnethe i Bjorna 1980. Osobna tragedija postala je pobjeda njihovih umjetničkih napora. Komplicirani osjećaji koje je Bjorn Ulvaeus doživio zbog neuspjeha braka natjerali su ga da pije alkohol. Na pitanje o kreativnom procesu The Winner Takes It All izjavio je: bio sam pijan, a svi tekstovi su mi u bujici emocija došli u sat vremena. Trenutačni val kreativne energije iznjedrio je jednu od njegovih najtrajnijih pjesama. Bjornova namjera nikada nije bila razjasniti da je pjesma izravan opis njegovog razvoda. It is a work of fiction. I can say that there was no winner or loser in our situation, since that is something I can say. On the other hand, he recognized that the lyrics of the song were influenced by their separation, by saying, neither Agnetha nor I came out winning in our divorce. The first thing Bjorn did was record a model that many people liked. Shortly after, he came to the conclusion that it had to be for Agnetha. After reading his lyrics, some tears were shed because the lyrics had impacted him a lot. Agnetha faced this emotional obstacle head-on and accepted it. It was fantastic to make that song because I was able to put so much feeling into it. He stated in his interview, I was not bothered at all to make it available to the entire audience. I did not feel out of place. It was one of his most powerful, in which he knew how to express his suffering. It seemed that the studio environment had changed. When we listened to the music, we realized that it had become heavier. Recording was no longer as pleasant as before. You could feel that there was something in the air. Agnetha remembers that it was quite heartbreaking. Beyond the story of Agnetha and Bjorn, the song was able to capture something else. It was a mixture of what I felt and what Bjorn felt, but also of what Benny and Frida lived. Agnetha explains. The emotional honesty that they both expressed resulted in something authentic and genuine. The song "The Winner Takes It All" was chosen as a favorite by ABBA fans in the United Kingdom in 1999. The musical composition had an impact that extended far beyond the personal life of the band members. The life after the divorce, as they went on. Agnetha Faltskog and Bjorna ODMAH had to remake their lives after their divorce to fulfill their obligations as parents and workers. They needed to find a balance. It took them some time to get married to become cordial ex-partners, and each of them faced their feelings in a different way. Instead of focusing on their problems, the ex-partner gave priority to the needs of her children. When they ended their divorce, their children, Linda and Peter, were only 6 and 2 years old, respectively, regardless of how they felt at that time. They established a structure of solidarity, co-parentality. Agnetha later revealed the following. I see Bjorn from time to time, when the children turn years old, but he moved to London and started a new life. Thanks to this agreement, their children were able to maintain their stability even when their parents' relationship changed. Faltskog and ODMAH came to an agreement so that the failure of their marriage would not complicate their obligations to ABBA. Thanks to their unbreakable commitment, the band was able to continue acting even after their marriage dissolved. After a while, the situation became more difficult to manage. The band's career reached a turning point in 1982. Bjorn explained. We broke up because we felt that the energy was running out in the studio because we did not have as much fun in it as this time. They declared that they were taking a break from the relationship, although they never officially left it. To heal from the divorce, Agnetha needs the help of a specialist. She felt emotionally destroyed as a result of the separation and needed therapy after the breakup. We always told the media that it was a happy divorce, which of course was a facade. Obviously. We all know that happy divorces do not exist, especially when there are children involved. He declared in 1997 in his book As I Am, in which he revealed the truth that was hidden behind his public image. By participating in the treatment, he was able to work these difficult emotions and continue with his life and his profession as a single artist. Although Agnetha and Bjorn's marriage lasted 7 years, its history went beyond the conventional divorce of a couple of celebrities. The fact that they continued to collaborate after their breakup shows an impressive level of professionalism. A significant part of Ava's most powerful music was produced as a result of this devotion. The deep emotional problems that put her cooperation to the test were professionally hidden behind the public image of a happy divorce that they presented to the world. In a short time, Bjorn began a new relationship to overcome the emotional trauma that he had suffered. Agnetha needed treatment. Despite this, they gave priority to their children and maintained a cordial relationship during family reunions. Her ability to transform personal suffering into musical triumph is evident in songs like "The Winner Takes It All." This situation demonstrates her unbreakable commitment to her profession. The divorce not only meant the end of their marriage, but also marked the beginning of the last chapter in Ava's story.